What if I told you that anybody can learn how to just pick up a guitar and improvise beautiful sounding music completely on the fly? And you don't need to have any natural born talent, you don't need to know a bunch of music theory, and you don't even need to be a great guitarist. In fact, in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to improvise stuff exactly like what I've been playing in the background of this entire video. And it's all going to be broken down into 4 easy steps so that even an absolute beginner will be able to follow along. And I also created a free downloadable practice cheat sheet to go along with this lesson, so you will be able to immediately start incorporating everything that we covered today into your daily practice routine. So if you'd like, you can download that using the link down in the description. And with that, let's get started with step number 1, the concept of key. Don't worry, it's really simple. This one step is the entire foundation for being able to improvise on the guitar and make it actually sound good. But for some reason, people seem to way overcomplicate this. A key is really just an umbrella term for a group of chords and notes out of all the chords and notes that exist that naturally sound good together. There are 2 main types of keys. Major, which are generally characterized as being happier, more hopeful sounding, and minor, which is usually considered to be sadder, darker, more mysterious, etc. For example, Hurt by Johnny Cash sounds sad and reflective because it uses only chords and notes from the key of A minor, whereas Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles sounds a lot happier and more playful because it uses only chords and notes from the key of A major. And there are also major and minor keys for every other note in the musical alphabet. The really cool thing about a key, though, is that it makes it kind of hard to sound bad as long as you're only using chords and notes from one specific key. Now, of course, I've been making some simplifications here in order to just make things more understandable and more digestible for a YouTube audience. But if you really want a ground up approach to just mastering the guitar, then I do have a private mentorship program that could be a great fit for you. If you're interested in a 3-month program where we work one-on-one together and I deep dive into where you're at right now and what you want to achieve on the guitar and help you get there, then you can click the link down in the description and hop on a call with me to see if it might be a good fit. But like I was saying, when you play in just one specific key, it allows you to create beautiful sounding music almost without thinking, which takes us to step 2, the chords of C major, cheat code for improvising chord progressions. The key of C major has the easiest chords and notes to work with on the guitar, so that's the reason why we're going to choose this key for improvising today. And so the first step is to learn the chords of this key, which include a C major, D minor, E minor, F major, and this one is typically played as a bar chord, but there are some easier alternatives if you can't play bar chords yet. For example, you can just have your thumb over the top here to cover that first fret of the low E string, and then just bar the first fret of the first and second strings with your index. If that's also too hard for you, you can just take your thumb off and just strum from the D string down to the high E. Or you don't even have to bar that and just play 3 strings at a time. Obviously, the more strings that you're able to play, the better, because generally we like more full sounding chords. So try to eventually work your way up to the bar chord, but start at whatever version is most comfortable for you. Now, the next chord in the key is a G major, and we can play it either like this with our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, or we can take that off and just leave it as an open B string. 2 different ways to play the same chord. Next is an A minor, and then a chord that is not very commonly seen in most popular music, a B diminished. So you don't have to learn this one if you don't want to, but I really like the sound of it, and there's never any harm in learning a new chord. So now that we know all 7 chords in the key of C major, we can now improvise a really cool sounding chord progression by just picking random chords from those 7 and stringing them together like this. You notice it generally sounds nice when we start or end on a C major, which is the root chord of our key, but remember, there are no rules. Wow, that is so much fun, but at the end of the day, these are still just chords. So if you're not going to be singing over top of them, it might be a good idea to add a melody. That means it's time for step 3, the C major scale. The reason why songs get stuck in your head. So like I said earlier, a key is composed of two things, chords and notes. We've already learned all the chords for the key of C major, C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. And now we need to learn all the notes for the key of C major, which would be C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And you may have noticed that they're actually the same exact names as all of our chords. And that is not a coincidence, but we'll save that topic for another video. This sequence of notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, is also known as the C major scale. And the notes of the C major scale actually exist all over the guitar fretboard. But for this lesson, we're going to restrict ourselves to just using this small section of the fretboard so that we don't overwhelm ourselves with too many things to memorize. So that means that our C major scale shape on the guitar will be as follows. The open G string, the second fret of the G string, the fourth fret of the G string, the open B string, and you notice that those are the same notes, the fourth fret of the G and the open B, just two different locations to play them. And then we have the first fret of the B string, third fret of the B string, fifth fret of the B string, open high E string. Once again, those are the same notes, two different locations. Then the first fret of the high E string, third fret of the E, and fifth fret of the E. So all of those notes that we just played exist in the C major scale. But any of the notes in between do not, and they probably won't sound very good in the key of C major. Once again, I linked a free downloadable lesson document in the description that has all this stuff written down so you won't forget it. But the reason why we wanted to learn this scale is now we can improvise melodies similarly to how we improvise chord progressions in the last step. We're just going to pick random notes from this scale pattern that we just learned and string them together to make a melody, like this. Of course, there still is an art to creating those melodies that are so catchy they get stuck in your head all day, but most of your favorite songs probably use notes from this exact same scale. For example, Demons by Imagine Dragons. Or Let It Be from the Beatles. Or even Yankee Doodle. I'm sure you noticed though how dry all these melodies sounded without any chords behind them. So I think it's time for step number 4, combining chords and scales. This is where we get to start creating something that sounds like real music. And so I've broken it down into 4 levels. For the first level, we're going to start with the chord improvisation exercise from before, where we just pick random chords from the key of C to play in a chord progression. But now, in between each chord, I'm also going to pick a random note from the scale to play in between, like this. Now I want to play that back for you because something really interesting happened there. I was playing a chord and then a melody note, and then a chord and then a melody note. So if I just isolate the single notes that I was playing as a part of the melody, it would sound like this. But your ears probably heard a different melody. I'm going to play the whole thing back again so you can listen for what the melody actually sounds like. If you're hearing the same thing as me, then the melody probably sounded more like. This is because our ears perceive the highest pitch of every chord to be a part of the melody instead of just another note in the chord. So for example, in the very beginning of this little progression, I played a C major chord. And that high E string is actually what our ears perceive to be the first note of that melody. Now when I strum the G chord, this highest note in the chord sounds like it's a part of the melody. And then once again, the high E string sounds like it's a part of the melody because it's the highest pitch in that chord. So let's try to be a little bit more intentional about this with level 2. So for this level, we're actually going to start with the melody improvisation this time instead of the chords, and then we'll add in the chords afterwards. I'm going to start by improvising an 8-note melody using the C major scale. And now, just like for the first level, I want every other note to be harmonized with a full chord, so that it's chord, single note, chord, single note. This time though, since I'm already starting with the melody notes, then I have to choose my chords carefully to be ones that include the notes of my melody. So for example, the very first note of this melody is the first fret of the B string. So now this is going to turn into a chord, but I need to make sure that the chord that I choose has this note in it. So let's look at what our possible chords are for this first note. We have a C major. This does indeed include that note. How about a D minor? No, D minor will not work for harmonizing this note because we have the third fret fretted on the B string instead of the first. How about an E minor? Also no, because we don't have that first fret fretted for that chord. F major. This one will work. G major. No. A minor. This one will work again. And how about a B diminished? No. So our possible chords that we can substitute in for just this single note are C major, F major, or A minor. Now before I choose, I want to also figure out all the other possible harmonies that I need for my other notes. So the next note of the melody is the third fret of the B, and then we have the fifth fret of the B. So let's try to harmonize this note. If you recall from earlier, this note is the same as just the open high E string. And the open high E string is more commonly found in these open chords. You're not actually going to see a fifth fret of the B, but it's the same note, so it still works. So this time we once again have three options, but slightly different. We have a C major, E minor, or A minor. Let's continue with the melody. So now we play this third fret of the high E. And remember that note is going to be left alone before coming to the third fret of the B. This one is going to be harmonized. So once again, going to cycle through all the chords in the key of C major. No. So for this harmonizing, we have D minor, G major, and B diminished. Now let's continue. We have the fifth fret of the B string for the next single note in our melody. And then we go down to the open B. C major obviously will not work. So for this one, we only have two possibilities, and those are E minor and G major. So now that I have all of my possible chords lined out, I'm going to pick one from each group to use instead of the melody note, and that way I'll have my full chord, melody note pattern, and I'll play it out for you. The chords that I'm going to be choosing are C major for the first harmonized note, E minor for the next, D minor for the next, and lastly G major. So now our melody would be transformed from this to this. But wait a minute, we just messed up our melody, because even though each one of the notes that we substituted in does include the melody note in it, those notes aren't necessarily the highest pitch in the chord, which, if you recall, is the way that our ears are able to pick it out as a melody note. So this time I'm going to do it again, but only strumming down to the actual melody note itself. So for example, the very first chord, C major, the note of our melody is the first fret of the B string. So I don't want to strum that high E. I'm just going to go 5 through 2 with my strumming. If I do this for every chord, it now sounds like this. That sounds a lot better. So hopefully now you can see how we can start to use this incredible phenomenon intentionally of our ears picking up the highest note of every chord to be a part of the melody, but being restricted to only the notes already found in those chords to create our melody can be a little bit boring after a while. So now let's move on to level number 3. For this level, we're once again going to start with the chord improvisation exercise and then add a melody note in between every chord from there. Except for this level, you also have to add a melody note on top of every chord that is not one of the notes already found in that chord. I'll show you what I mean. So the very first chord I played there was a C major, except for I had the 3rd fret of the high E string fretted. And this note is not naturally found in the C major chord. It's a note taken from the C major scale. And then again, for the next chord, I played an A minor, except for I threw in this 1st fret of the high E string from the C major scale. Also for the G chord, instead of just playing a regular G, I threw in this 1st fret of the B string. And once again, I'm only strumming down to that melody note. I'm not strumming the high E like I normally would because I want to really hear this note. If I just strum all of them, it can get a little bit lost in the middle of all those sounds in the chord. So that's why I'm careful to just strum down to that note. And then I ended with an F major, except for once again, added in a note from the C major scale, and that was the open high E string. So by adding each of these melody notes to every chord, I'm actually creating entirely new chords. And I don't even necessarily know what chords they actually are, but it doesn't really matter because as long as I'm using notes from the C major scale to alter each chord, they should sound pretty decent. A really cool exercise would even just be sitting on a single chord and trying out all the different possible combinations using our C major scale. For example, we can try it with the G major chord. So I'd start at the very top of the scale. And just walk all the way down the scale like that. Once again, only strumming to that melody note. So now our improv is actually sounding pretty interesting, but it's still a little bit too structured. So now for level 4, we're going to drop all the rules. You can play either traditional chord shapes or altered chord shapes like we just saw using notes from the C major scale. And you can play as many or as few notes from the scale in between each chord. You also don't have to strum each chord. Maybe you just want to pluck the bass note, or maybe you want to arpeggiate it in some way. Experiment as much as possible and have fun figuring out what kind of cool stuff you can create. At this point, you might even find yourself accidentally recreating songs you've heard on the radio because so many of them use this kind of generic combination of chords and notes from the C major scale. But don't stop here. Once you get comfortable with the key of C, try the same exact process with a different major scale. Or try learning all the bar chords so you can start, working your way up the fretboard. Try learning more of that scale pattern so that you can start improvising up the neck. There's so much more to explore and experiment with. This is just the first step in getting started. And in my opinion, it really is the essence of music and self-expression. So that's it for this video, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it. If you'd like some inspiration or just want to sharpen up your fingerstyle skills, I think this video would be a great next one to watch, and good luck practicing. See you guys in the next one.